We're going to take a look at the challenges that a single case experimental design encounters. And by single case, we mean very small numbers of subjects all the way down to just one subject. All right, so let's say, let's do a hypothetical first, and then we'll take a look at some of the real outputs. Let's say that you were dealing with panic attacks. Let's say that was your area of expertise. That was what you treated. You treated individuals with panic attacks. And somebody came to you and wanted to be treated for panic attacks. And you decided to go with individual treatment. So you were going to design a treatment program specifically for them in order to treat their panic attacks. So what are some of the challenges that you would encounter? Well, if you're treating a single individual, you need to determine if that independent variable, that is, if your treatment has an effect on a small number of subjects, that is, that one subject that you're treating. So it's oftentimes used for just a single subject or a single patient. And let's say that you have that individual and they come in and they say that they suffer from panic attacks. One of the first things that you would do is you would assess how bad is this behavior, how much of this behavior is occurring. So oftentimes your first move when you treat an individual, as long as they're not a danger to themselves or to others, is you don't do anything. You basically have them track their level of behavior for maybe a week. So they suffer from panic attacks, you have them track things for a week, and then they come back and you know exactly how often they go through panic attacks and how severe those panic attacks are. Let's say that you then develop a treatment. You sit down with the client and you're like, okay, this is the treatment that we're going to do. Anytime you feel a panic attack coming on, what I want you to do is I want you to start breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth, and I want you to count backwards from 20. Let's just say that was the treatment that you came up with, a little cognitive behavioral therapy. So you teach them that treatment and you send them away. And after a week, they come back and you look at how often they had panic attacks for that week, and you see that the panic attacks are reduced. So the question is, can we from this conclude that our treatment was successful? Can we, based on this, say that our treatment was effective at reducing the panic attacks? And more importantly, that this individual should now continue to do this treatment in order to further reduce panic attacks in their lives. So how many think that this is sufficient evidence to indicate that our treatment was effective? How many think it's insufficient? All right, you're right, it is insufficient. And the reason that it's insufficient is because when we started up this treatment on this single individual, something else may have, just by chance, coincided with the beginning of that treatment, and that something else may be the actual thing that reduced the panic attacks. So what might happen in a person's life that could reduce panic attacks? They got their dream job and could quit their bad job. So they came to you, they were suffering from panic attacks. You said, all right, I want you to start counting backwards from 100 and breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth whenever you feel that panic attack occurring. And just by chance on that same day, they found their dream job, so they quit their horrible job, and now their panic attacks are reduced. In that situation, you don't know if it was your treatment or the fact that they found that dream job that actually caused a decrease in the panic attacks. And that's an issue because you would want them to continue their treatment so that their panic attacks are reduced. But if your treatment is doing nothing, and it's the fact that they now landed their dream job, if you lead them to believe erroneously that the treatment is effective, then they're going to be blindsided when they have to change careers and they lose their dream job, and all of a sudden the panic attacks just come back and put them in risk of, again, going under that extreme behavior. So any other speculations about what might occur when you begin treatment that cause the panic attacks to be reduced? It would be pure speculation. All right, doesn't seem like anything is readily coming to mind. But maybe they met somebody. Maybe they met someone and that someone just has the ability to calm them down. Maybe they've been spending a lot of time with another individual and that individual recognizes the signs of panic attacks, and whenever they start having a panic attack, they're able to talk them, down from the attack. In which case, once again, your treatment does nothing, but it's this other person that they met that calmed them down. And again, we want them to be able to say at the end of our treatment time with them, look, continue to do this behavior, continue to do this treatment, and your panic attacks will be maintained at a low level. That will work if it's a treatment. But if it's the fact that they met someone and that someone calms them down, what happens when that someone moves away? What happens when that someone's no longer in their life? Panic attacks come back and they're back in your office. So it could be just maturation. It could be that they turned 21 and they said, you know what, I'm a fully legal alcohol drinking adult. Maybe it's the alcohol that started up. It could be that caused the panic attacks to be reduced. It could just be, it's possible sometimes just a mental effort, sometimes just a change in the way that they're thinking because of some huge life event. So maybe they had a near-death experience. They start the treatment and they go outside, they almost get run over by a car. And that near-death experience just has this profound effect and it shifts their entire mentality. It could be anything. Maybe they joined a fight club and that just helps them deal with their panic attacks. The point is that it could be absolutely anything. So something more plausible. Maybe they were being bullied at school. And that was the reason that they were feeling those panic attacks. And their bully just happened to move away. You start the treatment, they walk in on Monday, and it's like, oh, class, so-and-so had to move away, they're in another school. And maybe that's the reason the panic attacks were reduced. The bottom line is that something else could have happened. And if you, as a psychologist, mislead your patient into thinking that the treatment was effective, then you set them up for these panic attacks to come back in the future. As a psychologist, we're trying to fix these behavioral issues, and we need to know whether or not what we did was actually what was fixed, because we can control this. We can tell them, keep doing the treatment. If the treatment works, the panic attacks will be reduced. But the chances that something else happened is very high with a single individual. And if that something else is causing the panic attacks, then it would be unethical for us to say, oh yeah, keep doing the treatment. Treatment seems to be working. That's false hope. That's actually a lie. So we need techniques to make sure that we can account for that something else happened. So far, so good? Yep.
Isn't it kind of like protocol though, even if they do, like, say, meet somebody or start a club and get it under control, that they pair it with something else, whether it be medication or therapy?
Well, typically you would pair medication and therapy together, especially in the beginning stages, to get things kind of going. But at the same time, you still need to determine whether or not a treatment that you made is what's causing the change in behavior. Because again, whereas you can tell your patient continue on with the treatment, you cannot control other things that happen in your patient's life. So if it's one of those other things that is causing the change in behavior, you need to be able to identify that it's not your treatment, that it is something else, and then you delve into their lives and you try to figure out what is it that is causing this desire for decrease, in this case, in the panic attacks. So again, the idea is that we need to know, is it the treatment? Because we want to make sure that we have actually helped this individual get rid of their panic attacks. So the final question is like, why is this only an issue with a small number of subjects? Why is this only an issue with, say, a single subject design, rather than coming up in the previous experiments that we mentioned? So you'll notice that this is the first time we're talking about problems with experimental designs, but we're only bringing it up because of the small number of subjects in this case. And it just comes down to mathematics. It just comes down to probabilities. So let's just, for argument's sake, say that the probability that something else happened, and that is what caused the reduction in panic attacks, let's say that that probability is 50%. Right? There's a 50% chance that it was your treatment. There's a 50% chance that something else happened. So if you were to tell this subject, this client, continue on with your treatment, you got a 50% chance that you've helped this individual, your treatment is actually effective, and you have a 50% chance that you have lied to this individual and your treatment did nothing, but it was that something else that happened. That's in a small subject design. So why is this not a problem in experiments with larger numbers of subjects? Well, if you're taking a look at a large number of subjects, you have subject number 1 over here. And in subject number 1, let's say that their panic attacks reduced. Let's say that you are treating a whole bunch of subjects in a sample and you're using the same treatment, the count backwards from 20, breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. And your first subject here, you have the same issue, right? Their panic attacks were reduced. Maybe it's the treatment, maybe something else happened. And for the second subject here, you have the same issue. Maybe it was a treatment, maybe something else happened. And for your third subject, same issue. Maybe it's a treatment, maybe something else happened. Same thing for your fourth subject, same thing for your fifth subject. Now, in each case, you have a 50% chance that something else happened. In each case, you have a 50% chance, just like you did here, that something else coincided with the beginning of treatment and caused this person's panic attacks to go down. Something else coincided with the beginning of treatment and caused this person's panic attacks to go down. Something coincided with the beginning of treatment, caused this person's panic attacks to go down. So that's a 50% chance that it happened for the first person. That's like flipping heads once. It's a 50% chance that it happened for the second person. That's like flipping heads 2 times in a row. 50% chance that it happened for the third person. That's like getting 3 heads in a row. For the fourth person, 4 heads in a row. For the fifth person, 5 heads in a row. The chance that it would happen to 5 distinct individuals is only 3.1%. So if you see that panic attacks are reduced in a sample of 5 subjects, you only have a 3% chance that something else happened to all of them. Whereas you might have a 50% chance that something else happened to a single individual. And this is only for 5 subjects. That's still a small number of subjects. If you increase it just to 10 subjects, that chance goes down to 0.1%. Just 1 in 1,000 chance that it's not your treatment, it's the actual something else happened. That's the chance that something else would happen to 10 individuals, 10 coin flips you have, and getting heads every single coin flip. So this is the reason why we haven't worried up until this point, because if you're dealing with 10 subjects, the chances that something else happened to each of them that makes it look like your treatment is working is only 1 in 1,000. You can live with those odds. The chances that something else happened for an individual could be as high as 50%. That's too high. That requires the need for these single subject designs.